Good evening and welcome back to the Big Sexy Digital Nomad News. This is your field correspondent, Judge Mentalist, coming at you live from the recording studio where we have just broken some major news. The Big Sexy Digital Nomad podcast, which was founded and started in the first week of October 5th, 2022, is not a scripted podcast.
This has been Big Sexy Digital Nomad News. There's an artist in my Spotify rap that didn't age well. I'll leave that teaser and we'll talk about that next episode.
I've got a guess. Should I?
No.
Okay.
I'll just say I won't duck the question.
Okay. Originally, I was like, I pointed to my wife and I said, you talk to her about the options, let her make a decision. Happy wife, happy life.
I'm Billy.
And I'm Larissa.
Come talk ship with us at cruisehabit.com/BSDN. Safe travels.
What up, sexy world travelers? It's your boy, Big Sexy, here with a big thank you to our big, sexy world travelers. They're the folks who went over to bullwiththebutthole.com and subscribed to the podcast. I want to say a big shout out to Billy with cruisehabit.com, Lee Popsicle, Margaret White, Angel Quo, Bree, Chris Lowry, Dalen Diggs, Jesus, Joshua Tarr, Michael McKenna, Sebastian Robbins, and Smitty Scoop. If you would like to have your name read out before the show, just become a big, sexy world traveler and subscribe to the podcast. Swing on over to bullwiththebutthole.com and join the fun. Safe travels.
What is going on? This is Judge Mentalist coming back from being off in the world for a week on a cruise ship. I am totally forgetting where I am, what I was doing before I left, and still have not quite readjusted to figure out what's coming next. So here we are, taking it with you right here with another week of the Big Sexy Digital Nomad podcast. Let's find out what's been going on in Big Sexy's world.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this is hitting your ear holes, I hope that it is good. It has been a whirlwind 2 weeks since we last recorded since we last recorded.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. And
yeah, definitely, because the week before my cruise was Thanksgiving, so we recorded earlier in the week. Yeah, it has been probably 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been quite a bit. And then so much has happened. I'm trying to think about like everything that's gone on in that space of time. You were on a cruise, so yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things. Well, except for I'm trying to remember if the last episode. I think the last episode we talked about. The last episode was a bank episode, so I know we kind of mentioned it, but I don't know if I talked about the speech contest, the Toastmaster speech contest. I don't remember if
I think you did in the last 2 weeks ago's episode, the actual last one that we recorded that wasn't a bank episode.
Right. So that would be the day we recorded, the day that I was doing the contest.
Right.
At the club level. And your boy won.
Saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah, I won.
I congratulated you when I saw it, but congratulations formally and on the podcast and on air.
Thank you very
fantastic.
Much. And then 2 weeks later, this last Saturday, as of this recording, I competed in the area contest.
Now, was that because you won the first one, you advanced to the next one?
Correct.
Okay.
So now all the winners from the club levels, and there are five clubs here, and there were 3 competitors, 5 clubs, 3 competitors. They all won the international in their club, and I competed against them.
Same speech, different speech.
Same speech.
Okay.
Same speech. It'll be the same speech.
Gave it live, right? Not somebody evaluating the recording of it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I won. I won the area level.
So it wasn't a double take when I saw that and was like, hey, wait.
Didn't this already happen? Nope, it happened again. So now I compete on the district level. I don't know. I think that's sometime in February. I'm not sure where it's going to be. But now all the different area clubs are like, okay, you're representing everybody here. So come to our club, do your speech, get practice at it. We'll give you feedback. We want to fine tune this because now we want you to go as far as you possibly can go. And so that's the trajectory that I am on. Is I'm mentally rehearsing the speech over and over again. I'm looking at videos. I've learned that apparently when I'm speaking, I close my hands. Often I bring my hands together when I'm making a point or something. Like it is. I do here. I'm here and then here, and then here, and I got to stop doing that. I got to figure out
my hands.
What's triggering that. So I just have my hands here. I just really got to get more conscious of, because when I have there are movements within my speech that I do very deliberately and very purposefully, but when I'm just giving like information or being earnest in discussion, I bring my hands and I clasp my hands together. So I need to work on not doing that as much, which is like the and ahs, right?
Yeah.
But physically, it's a physical action that I didn't even realize I was doing it until I watched a video. I was watching the Instagram video of when of the speech, and I'm like, oh, look at me doing, and I do it all the time. I did it in an impromptu speech. I did it in my regular speech. I'm going, okay, so that's a thing that I now need to put into my brain space and focus upon to stop doing. I'm still working on the ums and ahs as well in just general speech. When I give a speech, no ums or ahs. I'm constantly, 0, no 100, 100%. You did not do any, no counting.
But the speech, different context. When we're here, for example, we're spitballing this whole hour. We plan nothing.
True.
There are bullet points that we know that we're going to talk about, but this isn't, spoiler alert. I know that you may have been disillusioned for the last 115 episodes. This big, hold on, let me find it. Where's the news announcement? There we go. Breaking news live.
The Big Sexy Digital Nomad.
Good evening and welcome back to the Big Sexy Digital Nomad News. This is your field correspondent, Judge Mentalist, coming at you live from the recording studio where we have just broken some major news. The Big Sexy Digital Nomad podcast, which was founded and started in the first week of October 5th, 2022, is not a scripted podcast.
This has been Big Sexy Digital Nomad News.
Now back to your regularly scheduled, not scripted podcast. So when we're just spitballing here, it's a crutch. The ums, the ahs are a crutch for the what words are coming next, because sometimes our mouth is moving faster than our brains, and sometimes our brains are moving faster than our mouths, and we don't we're not reading a script. Spoiler alert.
Right. But I will say that even on the impromptu speeches, right, they have a table topic section where they ask you a question and they give you a speech, or sometimes there's an interview portion, they give you a speech. No ums or ahs. When I'm on stage speaking, I'm thinking about what I'm saying much more than I'm thinking about here.
Right.
Even if it's impromptu, even if I'm making up on the spot, I'm still aware that I'm on stage and in performance mode. So I don't have a lot. I think every blue moon I do it, and it's really weird because every blue moon when I do it, I hear it like a fucking gong going off in my head. If I do it, I'm out. No more than that. No more of that. No more of that. Focus on what you're saying. Pay attention. If you have to think, take time and just say what you need. Don't fill that space. It's okay to be silent. And I got to stop doing this. I got to stop clasping my hands together. So that's what I'll be working on. Since we last spoke, I've held 2 improv workshops. This coming Saturday, I'm holding my first paid improv workshop geared towards performance, which I'm really excited about. I gotta promote that today in the improv WhatsApp group. I'm really excited about that. What else happened? Toastmasters have been taking up a lot of there's a planetarium here in Playa del Carmen, which is where the Toastmasters contest took place. I didn't even know there's a planetarium here, but they had an auditorium.
This is where the next step up one, you mean?
Yeah, the one that we just did was in the planetarium.
So when's the next one? Is it scheduled yet?
No, I think it's scheduled for February sometime, but I don't know where. Right, I may have to go to Cancun. I may have to go to Mexico City. I may have to go. I don't know where it's going to be, but they'll let us know hopefully. And luckily, it's in February, and we don't have any trips planned in February. Well, it's not, as long as it's not the first week of February, and I don't think it is. I think it's like mid-February, because end of January, beginning of February, we'll be going back to the U.S. for the visa run.
Right.
Yeah, so we've been putting that together. Mahjong has been going off like crazy. I've been going to different workshops. Today I got a writing workshop that I'm going to. I joined this creative writing club here, and they have workshops every now and then, so I'm going to go to that workshop. I have a great interview this evening coming up. I met the owner of a restaurant here. The restaurant is called Freaky Tiki. They have amazing fish and chips. I had a sample of that the other night. My friend, shout out to Jacqueline, who got stopped walking back from our open mic night, and she was stopping to text, and then 2 guys inquired if she was lost. I said, no, we'll come on over, have a drink. I have a restaurant and have some good food. She said, okay, and then she invited me over, and I met them, and then started talking, and the owner of the restaurant's name is Peter. And we started talking. I mentioned I have a podcast. I want to be interviewed on the podcast. And so, great, perfect. Let's set it up. And we worked it out. So I'll go by this evening. They have a live band from 4 to 6. So I'll be going after 6 to do the interview and have dinner there. And then that should be really good. I've done a bunch of interviews. Just so you know, and I don't know if you're aware, you are not aware of this because you've been on a boat for the past couple of weeks, is we have interviews scheduled well into the new year. Yeah. I
saw an alert for something at 11 today, my time.
Yep. That would be what's today? Tuesday?
Yes.
Well, you may have gotten a message for did I post something today yet? I may have posted the trailer for Saturday's interview.
No, something on. Remember? All right. So you remember when our contacts merged because I've got the Big Sexy Nomad logged into my iPhone. It also throws calendar shit that you throw on that calendar on my calendar.
Really?
Sometimes. I don't know if it always does it, but let me see what And I'm gonna be somewhat cryptic about this in case it's totally non-related and just ended up on the wrong calendar. But what
Actually,
I had,
if it is what I think it is, it's absolutely related.
SD initials, SD.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is Steve Didier.
Yeah.
His name. He has a podcast called The Ronin Lifestyle or something like that. Going Ronin or something along those lines. I know Ronin's in the name.
Oh, the guy I tagged you on the
The
yes.
one you tagged me on, correct. I
Right,
set up a
yeah.
meeting with him, a pre-interview meeting today. The vibes were great. So we set up a time to do the interview with
Sweet.
his podcast. And then I may try to set up a time. I'll talk to him to see if we either do it in the same setting. And then you have it as an episode for us as well. Or if we do a separate interview. Right. I'm thinking I'd like to have him on the regular episode instead of the bonus episode. I think I'd like to have him on as a regular guest so we both can talk to him.
Yeah, for sure.
As opposed to just he and I.
Also, speaking of bringing people in, I don't remember when, a couple weeks ago, we mentioned kind of a call to action about planning some trivia for us.
Yes.
Format irrelevant. And Smitty reached out and is going to do one. I don't know exactly the format. I don't know exactly the timing. We're going to have to make that schedule. It'll be something in the evening sometime. But we're going to probably do a show that either will all be us doing trivia hosted by Smitty, or at least a big portion of the episode will be dedicated to that. I mean, there's no reason to not just have him on and then break into the trivia portion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So look forward to that sometime in the next couple of weeks. Anybody else that wants to jump on that bandwagon, please feel free.
You're absolutely welcome to.
You know, we enjoy it. We're both people who are interested in it, but we don't want to leech off of a format that's been done by other podcasts that we may be connected to.
No, or definitely are connected to. Exactly right.
Yes,
but it's fun and it's enjoyable, and we like that kind of shit. So
I mean, it's legitimately what got me sucked into that world, because my origin story of the ICS world was, and I know I've told this before, so I'll keep it brief in the abridged version, but I was doing research on Matt Donnelly just to make sure that he was or was not a drinker before we brewed a beer, or I had the local brewery brew a beer on his behalf before he came that first time to do an Elkton Magic show. So I didn't get the information I was looking for from PSS, which is how I originally connected with him. So I started listening to this other podcast, ICS, and then that trivia portion just sucked me in. So,
and here you are now, a scoop.
And then once you start learning all of the everything, then you're just locked in.
Yeah, once you laugh and hear all, then you kind of it's a thing, And that does speaking of which, that does remind me that the Spotify Wrapped has been released.
Oh yeah.
Have you checked it out yet?
What, for us?
Yeah, either us or your own.
No, because I was on the boat.
Right, good. So we're gonna set up episode 117.
Okay.
Is gonna be our Spotify Wrapped episode.
All right, cool.
We will go over each other's individual Spotify Wraps and us as a podcast, what our wrap looked like as well.
Will this be a mystery to you as well?
No, I've looked at it.
Okay.
I've already perused both the website and my own. I'm already listening to my Spotify Wrapped playlist because I'm like, well, fuck it. If I like these songs, I might as well just throw this playlist on and keep listening to them. Although it's very interesting. I'll give a little snippet, little teaser, little tidbit, if you will. There's an artist in my Spotify Wrapped that didn't age well.
Okay.
And I'll leave that teaser, and we'll talk about that next episode.
I've got a guess. Should I?
No. Yeah, bring a guest next week.
Okay.
I'll just say I won't duck the question.
Okay.
All right. Now you, my friend, were on a cruise.
A cruise. I was. We did a Carnival Pride out of Baltimore. A few pro tips about cruising. I would imagine that when you envision cruising, you're envisioning nice weather, being
Usually.
outside a lot of times, being by the pool or the hot tub or up on the pool deck. If this is what you envision when you envision cruising, do not port from a cold weather climate in cold weather months, no matter where you're going. It was about 40 degrees Fahrenheit when we got on that boat in Baltimore. So the first
cold.
day, the first evening, first full day at sea, most of the second sea day, you didn't go outside. You didn't go on your balcony. You weren't in the pool. It was until we got to the Bahamas that it was even warm.
That's for our European listeners. That's 4.5 degrees Celsius.
Correct. I'm assuming you did the math right. So I just said correct.
Kind
of default.
I didn't do math for shit. I let my Google do the math for me. So I'm trusting that the computer knows what it is.
So overall, it was it was fine. That element of it, of course, sucked, but that was us, not anything else. Once we got down there, it was great. Some harsh realities to the fact that there has been no buy-in to the Elkton Magic Cruise in April has us. We're basically on the brink of canceling it, which is fine. And we're booked on that as well as the kids because it's their spring break. And an objective, look, Carnival Cruise Lines is supposed to be this family-friendly fun ship. And unless you've got kids that are interested in being dropped off in the kids clubs that they have there, of which mine are not in that category,
right?
There's very little to do, at least on a ship of the size that we were on. And we're kind of a mid-grade to smaller size ship that ports out of Baltimore, the Pride. We're pivoting on that most likely. If we cancel the Elkton Magic Cruise, we're probably canceling our booking on that ship.
Oh, really?
We're going to do something different. It just, objectively, and this isn't a dig. It's certainly not. It's not intended to be, at least. It may be perceived that way. If they're not hanging out in the kids club, there's not a whole hell of a lot for them to do, especially if, we don't even know what the weather's going to be like out of Baltimore in April. Could be spring weather. It could be hot by then. It could be fucking snowing here by then still. Who knows? Like that is a period of time in the weather patterns that are super unpredictable. May is usually pretty rainy around here now. So we don't anticipate it being the most ideal weather. It's not going to be as bad as obviously the first week of December and 40 degrees, but we're probably pivoting off of that. So anybody who is considering that and is interested in that Elkton Magic Cruise, you better hop on board like yesterday. Because by the time this episode airs, it may already be too late. We may have already pulled the plug on the thing. So, it is what it is. I know that it's tough with not to be political, but with the recent election, there's a ton of uncertainty about what's going to happen in the economy, and I get it. So we are like 99% yanking this thing. We are going to reconsider it in the future, but it's probably not happening in 2025.
Now the good news is, if you still have an itching for a cruising, then you can go to Nilla's 50th birthday cruise. And I talked with our friends over at gowithlisa.com. That'll be in March 22nd through.
Is that on Princess?
It is on Princess.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look at that week because depending on what happens with this judicial nomination, yesterday at the time that we're recording this had an interview with the committee, and any day now, possibly even today, by the time that this episode drops, I'll probably know whether or not I made the short list. So if I didn't make the short list, which means I won't become a judge this time through, that opens up my schedule quite a bit. And since I most likely don't have the April cruise happening, that might open up. I mean, I'm still going to be traveling because it's our kids' spring break. So we're going to do something. I just don't know what if we pivot. But it doesn't, it's not, we may end up doing an all inclusive somewhere. We may end up going to Disney because we have property access down there and stuff. Who knows? We're still in the air.
Right.
We haven't completely canceled this thing, but it's looking like that's going to happen.
Well, yeah. March 23rd, leaving out of Orlando on Princess Cruise, 8-day Eastern Caribbean, going to St. Thomas as well. So that will put us. Is there 31 days in March?
No.
I don't know. So that'll put us. We'll be getting back April 1st, April 2nd, something along those lines. So if you're still in the mood to cruise, you can do so on Nilla's 50th cruise, and you can actually go to gowithlisa.com /bigsexy and book that cruise with them, and they have different packages available and different things available. That cruise is absolutely 100% happening. It's her birthday cruise. We got my mom won a cruise for 2 on Princess.
Nice.
So we're just paying for the third person, and then we'll be going. So no matter what, we're going in March. We're looking forward to that as well. So very interesting. We're going end of January to the U.S. to California, coming back, and then going to Florida in March and coming back. And then when we get back, we'll be back in April, which will also reset the 6 month. We can put it well past the June, which is the end of our lease. And we'll make a decision if we want to extend our lease here or travel elsewhere. I'm hoping that my hope is that we extend our lease here. I really love this apartment. I'm hoping that we're able to extend our lease, and I hope it all works out both financially and time-wise that we do so.
Sweet. I sent you what let me ask you this. You've got that voucher that you bought a couple years ago on Virgin. What's the status of that?
We need to sell that by May.
Does the booking need to happen by May, or what's the deal?
Yes. Yeah, the booking has to happen by May. I don't know all the exact details off it, but I thank you for reminding me. I'll get back to the missus and we'll figure out what those details are and how we get that transferred over. But yeah, we do have a voucher for Virgin Voyages. It's good. You have to you have to book it before the end of May. I think end of May is when it's good for. I don't know how long past May you can take the actual cruise, but I think you have to have it booked by May.
Yeah, let me know. Let us know, because maybe a listener would be interested in it. I could potentially be interested in it because Virgin's a line that I wanted to check out. I certainly would not be able to do it as the replacement for that spring break trip with my kids because it's a adult-only cruise line.
And your youngest is 16?
The youngest is 13.
Youngest is 13. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no kids. Yeah.
So
it's an adults only 100.
Yeah. I overall,
listeners, if you're interested, shoot me a message on Instagram at bigsexynomad, or shoot us an email at bigsexynomad@gmail.com and let me know you're interested in that Virgin Voyages voucher. It's a $300 voucher, right? So it's $300 off the ticket price. And then it also comes with $600 in onboard credit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, which some people think, oh man, that sounds a lot of money. If you've been on a cruise ship, it's not that much. It's a lot, but it's not that much.
I'll tell you though, this one here, I had, and I think I might have talked about this deal. They, the suite was complimentary, and we had the drinks on board everywhere on board the ship package. And every cruise line does this a little bit differently. Carnival's got, so if you're a casino player, a lot of times their offers include free drinks while you're in the casino. And my offer included free drinks everywhere on board the ship, which basically meant that you weren't
even better.
It's much better. You weren't tethered to the casino to get your drinks. If you want to order a drink while you were at dinner, you could do so without an additional charge. I mean, you could do so whatever you want. So a lot more flexibility there. They gave me $2,500 in free play, but apparently, and I think I mentioned that it was rumored prior that on this ship, they didn't have the ability to load that free play onto your card. And sure enough, this was accurate information that I was given. So when I got there and I checked in the first sea day, and we were, I was like, hey, how does this work? I know I have all this stuff. And they're like, oh, go over to the desk there. They sent me to the desk, the cage or whatever. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, they just boom, 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 threw $2,500 in American cold hard cash right there on the desk and slid that bad boy over.
What?
Yep. I had $400 and some worth of onboard credit that was part of the deal. And then there was another $200, I think, from the quote unquote deposit that I gave, when I first booked the thing. And
wow.
So we backed out the prepaid gratuities, and we're just tipping on receipts the whole time because that cut into the onboard credit. We did some spa stuff, and there was actually $43 or $44 in leftover from the deposit that sometime within the next couple of weeks they're going to be mailing me a check for.
Oh wow! So you get that money back?
So it's like $40
because of the deposit,
right?
And did you burn through all the credit?
Yeah, in a matter of speaking. We had a fun week, and had a fun week in the casino. I didn't quit my job or withdraw from the judicial race as a result of anything happening in the casino, but it was good. Certainly played enough to solidify future bookings at similar offers. I mean, number one, this was an Echo offer, so I'm kind of locked into this until October of 2025. I can do 5 more sailings at a similar deal where they're going to give me $2,500 in the suite and all this other shit. Oh, there were 2 bottles of liquor that were waiting for me in the room, which a host called me like 2 weeks ahead of time or a week ahead of time to say, hey, what do you want? What mixers do you want with it? Every single day when we came back to the room, midday or in the afternoon, there was a different like gift snack there waiting for us. So like one day it was, I'm trying to think. Well, the first day that we were there were the 2 bottles of liquor, and these were full liter bottles, which we consequently decided not to open, and we just took home with us.
Smart.
Because why the hell not? I'll have these out of order, but like we had like this little gift box that had like 4 different types of snacks in it. There were like cookies and jelly beans and cashews and a bottle of wine, not in the box, but just sitting there. Mm-hmm. Some chocolate covered strawberries one day. Another day, and another thing that ended up just coming home with us was this sealed box of what we imagined to be like a chocolate assortment. And it's all got the Carnival branding and everything on. We went to the steakhouse. So included in everything that we did, my wife and I went to the steakhouse one night and just charged that to the room, which ended up being part of the onboard credit that we spent. We made that go a long way. And then
that's how you stretch that out. And it's also good if you can stretch it out with steak.
Yes. And then the casino host, probably about, I don't know, day 5 or so, was like, hey, we, because of your play level, we want to do something for you, blah, 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 blah. This is a song and dance I've heard numerous times. And originally I was like, I pointed to my wife and I said, you talk to her about the options, let her make the decision. Happy wife, happy life. Smart. She opted to get a credit at the for the photos that they do. And then when we went to use it, we learned that because they do a lot of you can buy them individually, but then they do these different packages, and the packages are the way to go. You get so much more stuff in these packages. It's all well overpriced. It is what it is. But you're, getting decent professional level photos.
Do they still have the area on the ship that all the photos are put in those big wallet, the frame type things, and they put them on the wall?
Yep.
And you got to search through all the photos to find yours.
Yeah, unless you book an individual session, which we didn't do this time. We've done it in the past, but we didn't this time. That's how you got to find your photos, and they're whack. And we always make sure that in every little grouping, we're doing something that's a little ridiculous. And of course, those always somehow end up on the top of the pile. And so we get there and we work out, we find 12 photos that she's interested in, which is supposed to be a 20% discount. And this is 12, you get 12 8x10s, 20% discount, 4 free wallets of each. And you're supposed to get them all digitally. So we're getting ready to get this all.
Are wallet photos even a thing anymore?
Well, I mean, they'll print them. I don't know that anybody has photos in their wallets because we've got photos right here on our phones.
Right.
But, and then we get there and she gives the voucher and, you can't use that in combination of this.
Ooh.
And it's just so nothing in any of the, nothing on this card. This basically was supposedly good as cash,
right?
Except for with this. So we go to the casino, we go to the host, we talk to them about it. Not a Karen situation, but we're like, hey, is this something that we're getting the wrong story on? Can you help get this worked out? And if not, can we just swap it for something different?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, we'll make sure that it works for you, because they want to keep me happy and any of their gamblers happy. So they make a couple calls and they're like, yeah, I guess that's their policy. There's not much that we can do about it. So if there's something else that you want, let's do that. So they ended up comping us on the casino because we were with my sister-in-law and her boyfriend on this cruise, which we've done before. And so they ended up comping us another steak dinner. Well, the first steak dinner that they comped for us, we didn't pay for because of the credits, but so we ended up going to the steakhouse again on the last night.
Did you get the same dish or a different dish?
Different dish.
What'd you get the first time?
The first time I think I got the surf and turf.
Okay, so steak and lobster.
So a filet and lobster tail, and then the next time I ate surf and turf because my wife wanted just a smaller steak, and I ended up getting one of the ribeyes. And I was like, if you're going to order the filet, don't order the filet, order the surf and turf.
Right.
And give me the lobster tail, which is what we did.
So you had an 8-ounce porter, the 8-ounce New York and lobster tail.
Right. So I upgraded my surf and turf on the second time through, and it was, the steakhouse is great. And really, if I were paying money for it, it's only $50 a person.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No,
for a really good steakhouse.
Yeah, it's well worth it if you were just paying the cash for it. We didn't pay either time, but it's well worth it.
Now, was their steakhouse in the aft of the ship so you can see out the back, or was it on the side so you can see out on the side?
So we sat in the very center of the first time we sat on the side, so you could see out of the side. And then the second night when the four of us were there, we were in the middle of the restaurant, so we couldn't really see too many of the windows. But the way that it is on this ship, it's actually a deck above the buffet of the Lido deck. So there's actually stairs that'll go down into that buffet.
Oh, interesting.
And we got there a different way, but yeah, that was, so you can kind of like at night, if you're in the buffet, look up and see some of what's going on up there. And I guess if we were close enough, we probably could have looked down into the buffet. I'm not sure, but yeah, so it's right.
I'm not sure why you'd want to, but you could.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smaller ship. It's only 10 actual decks.
Oh wow, that is a small ship. That's nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
any how was the entertainment?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this in the past. There's not magicians,
but not about this ship.
There's not magicians on any of the Carnival ships except for the strolling magicians. We didn't see that magician at all. I didn't see any indication that magician was doing a stage show. I think I mentioned in the past that on a different ship sailing out of Baltimore, the magician that was doing the table work also had like an hour late in the cruise that they did a stage show, which was terrible. So none of that. We went to one of the stand-up comedians the first or second night and left midway through. It was that good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they have like your dancers and singers for like a Broadway-esque type of showcase in the main stage?
Some of this stuff was in the middle of the day, so we ended up not doing it because it just kind of didn't jive with the direction that we were going in. So we didn't see any of that. It was there. What else did we do?
Any excursions?
We didn't this time. The first port was Nassau, and when we got off the ship, it was super, super windy and a little bit chilly. So we go through everything, and then as we're there and trying to decide what to do, and literally like the wind is like knocking us in the face. We're like, no. We turn around, we go back on the ship, we get dressed into regular clothes, not the swim clothes, and go back out and just kind of strolled around. But I'm not quite sure what was happening, but they had several blocks in the middle of town blocked off, and there were a bunch of like police or military looking people there.
Ooh.
So we didn't want to know. You know, it was kind of one of those, the closer we get to this, the worse it probably is. Maybe who knows? Maybe they just have it blocked off because they're shooting a scene from a movie or something. Yeah. We didn't know.
Maybe they're erecting a Nassau Christmas tree.
Because if it's something that's really, really going down, it's not something that we want to be in the middle of. So, you know, we ducked through some of the shops and everything like that. And then we really only spent an hour off the ship, maybe an hour and a half that day. What was next day was their private island, which was a fantastic day. The weather was perfect. We just sat along the beach. By the time that we got there, though, they had shut down the food on the side of the. You go off or you either go left or you go right, and we knew that the one direction that we went was going to be less populated, and it was. But they shut the food down early, so we didn't even eat on the ship, or on the island, which was fine. But I read some, and the ladies rented one of those like floating bike things.
Okay.
Like the little paddleboard bikes.
Right.
So they did that, and then we got back on the ship. So that was probably the best day. And then the third port was Freeport, which is all just junky ass shops.
It's shops, and it's very port. I mean, it has port in the name.
Right. So and Freeport is like a legit shipping port that also cruise ships will dock there, and they've got a little bit of this, that, and the other set up. So we knew that we didn't even get off the ship that day. We knew before we booked this that we don't get off at Freeport. We don't bother.
Right. Freeport ain't free.
We ended up in the spa that day. That was our spa day, which was fun.
Did you bring back any cool souvenirs? Are you a souvenirs kind of guy?
No, and there was definitely nothing that jumped off the chart. Other than bringing back some of the gifts from the casino host and
Yeah.
Snacks and booze.
It's all about the snacks and booze, baby.
Yeah.
Snacks and booze, baby.
So, yeah, that was that. I mean, all in all, it was my wife is finding herself more and more to not be a cruise person.
Really?
So, and I'm, I enjoy it, but I also can kind of see where she is on it. Like, these any cruises that we go on are going to be gone on because her sister very much is a cruise person, and we're going to get drug in on that. But, we're starting to kind of discern, and don't get me wrong, this whole thing may, the opinion can certainly change because we've been exposed to just 2 cruise lines. And I told her, I said, look, I'm not giving up on this thing. I don't think you should. But I think that we should explore some other cruise lines and some other settings. Like, I'd really love, this would be a totally different thing to go to Europe and do one of those Mediterranean and your European ones. Mm-hmm. And the vibe is totally different there because there is no smoking. There is no casino on a lot of those ships. It's just a totally different sort of experience. It's a little bit more, it's actually a lot more, from what I understand, high end.
Actually, I think those ships still have casinos.
Not all of them. The Viking ones don't.
Okay.
Viking advertises no smoking, no kids, no casinos.
Oh, interesting.
And it's a thing because they, you understand that when there's a casino on a ship, that's part of the racket. So, which is basically why, because of casino play, that on Carnival, and I know that I can translate these offers to other cruise lines that have casinos on, I get paid to go cruise.
Right.
On Carnival.
And presumably, speaking of which, you said you had like 8 cruises.
5 more on this Echo offer.
5 more on this Echo offer. Just so you know, you have until October. My birthday is in September. And if we did a big sexy digital nomad birthday cruise, our birthday is in October.
Yeah. Well, right? I have until the sailing doesn't need to be by October. Of next year.
You have until October to book it.
I have to book it by October of next year.
Right. So we can actually talk about, and who knows where we'll be situational wise, but we can throw a cruise together, and
but we're leaving from a fucking warm port.
I only leave from Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I either leave from Florida or California.
So we're still relatively new. This was our 4th cruise.
Right. Your baby's at this.
We're starting to kind of tweak and refine what is and isn't desirable for us. What she really enjoyed, and something I want to explore, and I know Viking does a lot of these, and the no smoking thing is super appealing because
you don't smoke.
We don't smoke. We don't like it. And if there's a casino, we're casino people. We're completely fine if there's no casino. We don't need that. We'll partake if it's there, because especially with the smaller ships like this one, there are certain times where there's not a whole lot to do but be in the casino. And then you smell like an ashtray when you leave, and that just kind of sucks. So what she really enjoyed was, and this is kind of more qualifiers to she's not a cruise person. She's not an ocean cruise person. Because I can tell you right now, if the right dates and right itinerary, and I hide the cost from her, to go on a riverboat cruise in Europe comes up, she's probably all in on that. Because when we did the Nile cruise as part of that Egypt trip, you didn't know that you were on a boat, other than the fact that you knew that you were on a boat.
Right.
That there was nothing that we experienced, and people confirmed that no, this is just the way riverboat cruises are. There's current, but there's no waves. There's no tide that's impacting this really. There's none of the
you're not flipping back and forth. You're just cruising down the river.
Storm that's 300 miles that way is affecting the choppiness of the water here. There's none of that in the riverboat setting. We also don't know because, again, we've really only been on even the Disney cruise that we were on. That ship was about the same size as these Carnival ships. We don't know. I don't know. This is probably a really, really good question for me to ask our friends.
Cruisehabit.com, bitches.
Because I know that they've been on the bigger ships, because I know that one of the inaugural launches of the biggest cruise ship in the fucking world right now, the Icon of the Seas, that Billy and Larissa were on.
Correct.
And they've been on enough volume of cruises that they would be able to confirm, with the asterisks of whatever's going on in the water being always a factor. You know, you go on a cruise ship in hurricane season, you're going to fucking feel it probably regardless of the size of that ship. Do you feel less on the bigger ships, or does it make no impact? I don't know the answer to that question.
Right.
Speaking of, I don't want to Google that question. I want to ask somebody who I know has been on as many cruises as they've been on.
Right. And speaking of
cruisehabit.com/BSDN.
I got to hang out with Billy and Larissa.
What?
Yeah, they were
Did they come to Cozumel or something?
They on the Princess Cruise. They stopped at Cozumel. We took the ferry over to Cozumel and spent the day with them.
Oh, that's kick-ass.
So it was so much fun. So I definitely want to say thank you to Billy and Larissa for coming out and hanging out with us. We really appreciated that. It was a really fun day.
All right. I figured it all out.
Okay.
I haven't, but I've got...
You have an idea?
Hold on. I've got the concept of a plan.
You have concept of a plan.
I have the concept of a plan. Your mom's got casino juice. At least at MGM.
Kind of, yes. Yes, yes, at MGM, yes.
So there is a site called urcomps.com. The letters UR, comps.com. And the concept of this place is that it translates, these are my words, not theirs, translates your casino or cruise line casino comp status to some other cruise lines.
Oh, interesting.
So the fact that I have only cruised casino-wise on Carnival, and I've got whatever juice I have at the casino, I upload my offers to UR Compt, and they process those and say, oh, if you are getting those types of offers from Carnival, Royal Caribbean will take you over here and give you a comparable offer, or maybe not quite as good until they actually see you, but good enough that you're not paying other than the taxes and fees.
Right.
If we're going to try to do one of these birthday cruises, if she's the one that's got the most juice and probably would go on a birthday cruise with you in a similar sort of arrangement, we got to get her linked up with a site like that so that which
means I'll be doing it because my mom is not.
I mean, you could do the legwork there.
Yeah.
And see if we can't match something to really make it cost, nothing more than adding one other person.
Right.
And then build it around that. So like it's a plan.
It's a plan.
It's a little more than
a concept. You got a location and everything.
All right. So listen, let's talk about 2028 and my run for presidency, because I have more of a fucking plan.
Yeah, you will have been a district judge for 3 years at the time, and
possibly, who knows?
Possibly.
Look, I'm going to know if my train's still on that track probably by the end of business today or tomorrow.
Yeah. No, maybe not the president, but you can make a bid for, vice. You can be vice president. We'll get you in the Congress, into the Senate.
Let me tell you about the level of interest I have in anything that we No, thanks. Hard pass. So we got the yeah. So we'll find out about that. I kind of I have mixed feelings about this thing.
What thing is that?
This judge thing, because if I do,
really,
I do potentially get it. Oh God, all my freedom is gone.
Most of it for a while, for a little bit.
For a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a job. I don't have a
Yeah.
job. I mean, I do, but I don't have a boss.
You're the boss.
I'm the boss. If I decide that I want to go on a cruise in the middle of December, like I did last week, I just do it.
I have a feeling you could do that as a judge.
But here's the thing: like if I were to get it, then I gotta be transitioning my office. I would have to cancel the Performing Hypnosis Summit in January because it's going to be too crucial of a time for me to be, getting things transitioned for the law practice.
Right.
I don't even know when I'd have to take the seat, but it would probably be sooner than I want it to be. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When I first contemplated everything, there was a nice balance and the pros and cons kind of leveled.
Right.
The more and more I've digested this, the more and more I've weighed upon this, the scale's been a little tipped. And nothing specific has happened to tip the scales other than deeper reflection.
Right. Other than you went on a cruise and had a good time and I can't just do this anytime I want.
Sure. That potentially was a weighing factor on the, this would be a real cool room to do a show in. And if I get it, I'm foreclosing on fringe festivals. Oh, here's an announcement. I have been accepted to perform at the 2025 San Diego Fringe Festival.
The 2025 the Fringe.
San Diego
Fringe. Oh, really?
I totally forgot that I applied. I got an acceptance email. I don't have any details yet, but if I become judge, that doesn't happen. What we did earlier was real good to begin with.
Breaking news.
I realized
Judgmentalist got accepted for the Fringe in San Diego, California.
I realized that the time that music was playing was, here we go, the time that I should have been looking up the email. Congratulations. Your event has been approved. San Diego, all in caps. And for whatever reason, my Wi-Fi is being a fucker here, and I'm just looking at the load screen. But yeah, I have, and it basically was an email of, you're in, details to follow. Look for another email. So I haven't gotten the subsequent email, and this came in on 11/23. Come on, why are you not loading?
Wait, at 11:03 a.m. or
no,
November 23rd.
Okay. Congratulations, Judgmentalist. Your show event has officially been approved for presentation at the San Diego Fringe Festival. Artists like you are essential in shaping culture and inspiring communities around the globe. Your creative work will be a valued part of bringing the unique Fringe experience to our community. Thank you for sharing your talent with us.
Facts.
We'll be in touch soon with the next steps to complete your registration and prepare for the press.
I do love that we give big nuggets of information after the 50-minute mark on this podcast.
Oh,
you need to listen to the whole fucking episode because you might miss out on some big news.
And again, if the fact that this comes at the end, you think that is some sort of ploy or plan, please go back to the first time that we played that news music on this podcast and realize that Big Sexy Digital Nomad for 116 episodes still remains an unscripted podcast, contrary to somebody's belief.
Well, it's popular belief. Somebody's belief. Somebody who doesn't know us.
I'm sure somebody buys it. Somebody
may think, oh, they're doing this script. No.
And I'm pretty sure. So, like with the Rochester Fringe, it was all on me. I paid my way to get up there. I paid for my Airbnb. I paid for all of my promotion. And I think I've explained this in the past that every single one of these Fringe festivals runs totally differently.
Right.
They have a program where, number one, I believe that the San Diego Fringe has guaranteed minimum pay.
Awesome.
Per show. they do something that I don't understand because the word means something different to me, called billeting, where they house you. I don't know what that word means in that context, but basically it's my understanding that people from the community that are either part of Fringe or whatever that have extra rooms in their places of living
homes to artists.
will host the artists. So I don't even have to pay for that. Obviously I would have to pay for my flight out there and everything. No big deal. I've paid far more money for less. Let's put it that way.
I will definitely be there if you're performing there. It's San Diego. If we're still in Mexico, which most likely we will be.
Yeah.
That is a quick flight to Tijuana, hop over the CBX. I already know how to do it because we're doing that at the end of January, right? And that's a very inexpensive flight. It's the first time I've ever seen a flight leg that was $10.
I'm sorry, what?
One of the flight legs to go from Cancun to Tijuana, or I think it was coming back from Tijuana to Cancun. That flight leg was $10 per person, USD.
Plus the taxes and fees, right?
Plus taxes and fees, right?
Okay.
I mean, so you're gonna pay a lot more than just the $10, but the seat itself the flight itself was $10.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I want to
say
that's why we're going to California instead of Florida or Texas.
I think, and it was probably in that email. I'm not even going to try to reload it right now. I think it's like the 15th through the 25th of May. So again, stuff like that, you apply for this shit that's going to change your life in some ways good, in some ways bad. And then, 10, 11 days later, you get this email being like, hey, that thing that you really love doing, we want you to do more of it. And it's like, fuck.
And what you do in San Diego.
So, it's really weird. I know we're about to go over time here, but normally I have an incredible read on whatever room I'm in and the situation that's unfolding in front of me. This process, the interviews that I've done, most of these interviews have been like 15 minutes long via Zoom. How much information can you possibly get about somebody? I've been asked questions in some of these interviews that make it clear that the folks asking the questions haven't read my application. And I used to hold the process of vetting these judges in a high level of reverence. Like, because we've got two different levels of trial court here. And in the higher level of court, one of the things that you have to do is be on the next general election ballot.
Right.
And anybody who fits the qualifications of having filled out the application in the first place, which means you're 30 years old, you're an attorney in good standing, you've lived in the state for 5 years, and you've lived in the county for, I think, 6 months, could file to run for the seat. I think filing to run for the seat was the most preposterous thing in the world. Like, they go through this arduous vetting process. And now that I've been through at least half of the process, I'm like, I still think it's ridiculous for you to run against that seat. But I don't think the same thing about the vetting process because I've experienced part of it. And it's like, and literally I've been asked questions that clearly indicate that the person asking it didn't read my application.
Because all the information is already in the application?
Yeah. And it's not asked in such a way that you want to see if I'm being consistent or dodgy or whatever. It's purely coming out of, there's no way you read my application and asked me that question. But again, what can you possibly learn about somebody in a 15-minute Zoom call where you're a part of a panel asking questions?
Not a lot.
And I know some of that is a factor of their organization, probably within their bylaws for this committee, obligate them to ask the same questions to everybody that comes through. I don't know if that's the case or not, but the process was a little downgraded for me so far.
Gotcha.
And who knows, if I get on the short list and I move forward, maybe the next part of the process is far more arduous. I don't know. I don't even know if I'll know. So,
well, I look forward to finding out. I mean, if nothing else, it makes great content.
Yeah. And,
And I love the juxtaposition of you named yourself judgmentalist, and now you might be a judgmentalist.
Correct. But I will be limited. If I get it, I limit myself, and I'm probably doing shows that are, the core shows that I want to do, the fundraiser shows, the school shows that are for fundraisers, things like that. I will limit myself regionally, but I'll still very much be able to do them.
And you can always go, folks, we got some any unique fundraiser ideas. You can go to uniquefundraiserideas.com.
But I love the idea of being able to go to San Diego for a week or for 10 days to do a bunch of shows. I loved the experience in Rochester. I learned a ton from the experience in Rochester that if I end up being able to do San Diego, boy, oh boy, it's going to be epic. It's going to be amazing. And then I probably link up, depending on the schedule, with the folks at Mystique Dining and say, hey, I'm going to be in town. You got the spot with the stage here. You want me to do some hypno shows for you while I'm in town doing hypno shows for Fringe? Let's do it. I know the booker. I'm sure I can make something like that happen, even if there's special events for 2 nights or something. Fuck it. I'm in town anyway.
And you may see if you can get invited to the Magic Castle.
They don't want hypnotists there.
No. You still do a mentalist show.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Or you can just, or go to the Magic Castle, so you can get an invitation to go there.
Oh, I know enough people that are members that if I to visit, I can go. But yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Go to the Magic Castle. Not necessarily to perform, but go to the Magic Castle. Enjoy yourself.
Then I gotta put a tie.
It's really awesome. I've been there. Yeah, you gotta bring a tie, suit.
That's okay.
It's all right. But yeah, well, we got a lot happening, and there's still a lot coming up too.
Always.
Right, I got more contests. I got a bunch of interviews happening. We got new shit things. We got the cruise coming up. Our visa run. I'm running the improv in Playa. I'm in a band called Easy Peasy, and yeah, there's a lot going on. So listeners, stay tuned. We got so much more stuff happening.
And we're going to do the Spotify Wrapped wrap up next week. So
next week's the Spotify Wrapped. And if you have any questions or any ideas, you want to shoot us up, hit us up at bigsexynomad@gmail.com. If you have any stories of your cruising experiences or your travel experiences, or if you've ever left on a cruise in cold weather and you cursed the name of the person who booked it, send us a message. We'd love to hear with that. And you can also swing on over to bullwiththebutthole.com. Subscribe to the podcast. There you will get access to bonus content like the videos for the interviews that I do. And then if you're a paid subscriber, the names you heard at the beginning of the show were all paid subscribers. You get your name read at the beginning of the show. You get even a bit more contact, especially me doing these speeches. I'm putting the video of these speeches up on our Patreon for our paid members. So be sure to check those out as well. And then, of course, as always, if you want, get your merch. It's the holiday season upon us. It's time to get those Christmas presents. Get somebody some Big Sexy digital merch at whereisbigsexy.com. And that's where, like, you're putting on clothes. We've had a change in a link. The voice message portion of Spotify has gone away.
Oh.
So a couple of our links, like the bigsexynomad.com link and the prankcall.me link, don't go to anywhere. But I did create a voice message thing on a website called SpeakPipe. So if you go to www.speakpipe.com /bigsexydigitalnomad, you can leave a voice message there as well.
Send me that link so that I can push prankcall.me to it.
Yeah, I think I sent it to you.
I don't remember seeing it, so do it again.
I sure will. I sent it to you in WhatsApp. I sent it to you.
I was on a cruise, so who the fuck knows?
You're on a cruise, right? It's waiting for you on the WhatsApp link. But anyway, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Thank you again. Appreciate and and in the meantime, safe travel.